Goblin here, the greatest goblin that ever lived, is here to do a comic book review for the beginning of January 2016. I hope everybody had a good, happy new year. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to start this video off with a moment of silence for the unfortunate passing of the legendary David Bowie. We're going to miss you, David. Rest in peace. Now, on to the comic book review, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me. I got a little DC and a lot of Marvel to take care of, so we're going to run through the DC. And then we're going to tread through the Marvel. We'll start DC off with Batman Beyond number 8. I think Dan Jurgens is still one of the best writers going for DC right now, because this title and Lois and Clark, I'm hooked. I mean, these are really good. There's still a little piece of me that wishes that it was still Terry McGinnis in this Batsuit. There's still that part of me that doesn't feel like it doesn't feel right to see Tim Drake in this costume. But having said that, Tim does do a nice job as Batman in here, and Gotham is easily one of the most well-kept up cities going right now after the Brother Eye debacle has finally ended, and you've got stranglers from other cities, especially Metropolis, trying to get in, and Gotham is like barricaded themselves. They don't let anybody in. They can't trust anybody. And we get to see who the mayor of Gotham is in here. It's, minor spoiler here, it's Luke Fox, aka the former Batwing. You know, it's really nice to see that, you know, Tim has his priorities in check, but he's got a lot on his plate. But his top priority is finding Matthew McGinnis, Terry's younger brother. Unfortunately, others find Matt, and that's where I'm going to end this. This ended on a really eye-catching cliffhanger. Really, really well done. Not the best stuff in the world, but I enjoyed it, thought it was good, and that cliffhanger got me hooked. It did its job, it served its purpose, it's making me want issue 9, and that's what it needs to do. That's what cliffhangers are used for, is to hook you in and make you want that next book. And that's exactly what happened here. This was good. 3.5. Moving on to Bombshells number 8. Marjorie Bennett still doing a good job here. We got a name for these undead soldiers that are attacking everybody. I believe it's pronounced the Tenebrae or Tenebrae, or I don't know how they would pronounce it. I call them the Tenebrae. Not the best sounding name in the world, but this issue focuses mainly on 4 characters: Stargirl and Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and Mera. I know that shtick's probably getting a little old, but I'm still loving what they do with Diana. Anytime she's with Steve, anytime she talks to him, she calls him by his full name. It's like, I still get a kick out of it. Look over there, Steve Trevor. It looks like a dead body. Or, look up at the stars, Steve Trevor. Aren't they beautiful tonight? It's like, wow. I just get a personal little kick out of that. I think it's cute. Say, what are you doing this Friday night, Steve Trevor? It's fucking hilarious. But Stargirl and Supergirl have a really nice story in here. The stuff with Mira is really good. But yeah, wow, they went all out. They went pretty out with this. I wouldn't really say they went all out with it, but they pulled out some good stuff with these characters, and I liked it for what it was. It was good. I appreciated it. But then the ending with the stuff involving Mira. Oh shit. This was good. I give it a 3.5. I'm sorry if a 3.5 sounds kind of like an average score, which it's not. An average read at best would qualify as a 2.5. If I give 3.5, so what that means, it was great, but still not perfect. You know, it's like... Alright, moving on to Detective Comics 48. Peter Tomasi. Nice stuff here. This was good. Passarin's artwork is really good in here. Really, really good. Jim decides it's time to go a couple nights just in the regular bat suit. Leave the robo suit, leave it at bay, and do what you can do. And there's a really nice moment in here involving Jim and Barbara in here. It's like, I just thought it was so cool to see Jim Gordon as Batman call his daughter Barbara, and they're talking to each other in their superhero costumes. You have father and daughter talking to each other, yet they're not aware. Well, wait a minute. No, I gotta retract. I gotta pull back a little bit. Barbara knows that Jim's Batman, but Jim doesn't know Barbara is Batgirl. So, okay, I gotta compose myself before I get something up, before I slip. But that was a good moment in here. The antagonist in this storyline so far is weird, and I mean Buffalo Bill weird. Apparently, we're dealing with another guy who likes to deal in masks and everything, and I couldn't help but think to myself, is this like a creepy take on Falseface? 'Cause he has masks that look eerily like real-life human faces. I mean, it's just really weird. And some of them are resembling like famous historical figures like Washington, and I see Teddy Roosevelt's face hanging on a wall. You know, just a lot of, you know, really familiar faces, and probably some faces that this character had just made up himself. You know, I know it's probably not Falseface, but it just... That's one of my first thoughts. That's one of my very first thoughts when I saw this character is this supposed to be a creepy take on a character similar to Falseface? But still, not bad. It was good for what it was. That last page, though, I was kind of iffy on the last page. I was like, was this really supposed to shock me? Because it got me interested, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was shocking or surprising or anything like that. It is what it is. This issue wasn't bad. The artwork really helps it, though. The writing was good, but the artwork really helps step it up a bit. And if it wasn't for the artwork, I probably would have given this book maybe a 3, but I'm going to bump it up to a 3.5 because the artwork was that good. Moving on to Green Lantern 48. Oh, man. Venditti. Kokolo. Oh, God. The interior artwork in here was beautiful, and the writing is solid. This is getting really good. It's like we're taking a break from the outer space shit, and we're getting it back down to earth with Hal Jordan. And Hal's not doing so good. You know, his nephew's in the hospital. Don't know if he's going to live or not. But then he finds out who's responsible for the attacks. And he goes to seek some help. Now, who he seeks help from, I'm not going to ruin that. I'm not going to give that away. But he gets enough information to where he thinks, okay, now I can track this guy down. And, oh my God. He finds supporters of this motherfucker. But then I see something that I've seen done hundreds of times, yet it's one of those things that once you see it, it just instantly makes you go, holy shit! You know, I've seen it done over and over and over again, but still, it's one of those kinds of, it's kind of one of those plot points that just still will make you go, oh shit! You know, one of those kinds of things. And then the ending of the issue. Oh, man. DC, you're doing a good job with this, but let's just hope you don't try to cram so much, you know, moving forward. You know, deal with one thing first and then go to the next thing and then go to the next thing. Don't take 3 different plot points and try to mush them all together into one big fucking issue and try to clusterfuck everything together and rush everything. Take your time. I'm hoping that you continue to pace the story the way you're doing it. Pace your stuff out. Get this done, then get this done, then get this done. Don't try to cram it all up, and don't try to rush anything. As long as you do it that way, as long as you pace yourself the way you're doing it, you're still doing fine. This was good. Really good. I give it a 4. Moving on to Marvel, starting off with Amazing Spider-Man 1.2. Yeah, I know I stick up with traditional numbering, but the point issues, they don't count. They're just like special one-shot issues or miniseries or something like that. This is part 2 of Amazing Grace. Molina and Bianchi, they do a good job with this, but there were times where this issue kind of lost me. You know, it's another one of those issues where we're at this point in time, then we're back to this point in time, then we go back to this point in time, then we're here at this point in time, back and forth and back and forth. We're playing fucking ping pong with the timeline of what's going on in this story. And there were times I was thinking to myself, do they even remember what the fuck they're supposed to do? You know, they talk about it a lot, but it's like, are you going to do anything about it, or are you just going to stand there and measure each other's dicks? Because there are times where they bicker and banter at each other, and there were times where it was kind of trying to go on a little bit of the silly side. You know, look, I know Spider-Man's supposed to be a silly character from time to time. I get it. I understand it. It's one of his shticks. But I kind of felt like some of the times the characters were missing the point of why they were conversing together, and, you know, okay, y'all are talking about it, but you're not really doing anything. You're saying, okay, Spider-Man needs to go to Cuba. You know, we can't go because of blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Then send him off. You know, explain your reasons, which they do, and you're off. There you go. This didn't keep my attention as well as I think it should have. There were plenty of times I found myself getting lost in it. There were plenty of times reading this issue I kind of felt like I was just reading along, and I could find myself easily distracted by something else around me. It's one of those kinds of books. It didn't really grab me, and I felt like that's what it needs to do, especially with my favorite character of all time. You need to grab me and keep me in there. Keep me in this story. And when you can't do it, that sucks. I'm not saying this book was horrible. It's just I've seen a lot better stuff done with Spidey. I got a lot of Spider-Man related books this particular week. I mean, a lot. And this was easily the weakest of them all. It came off a bit of an average read, but the artwork was still decent enough to help it. So I'm going to be generous, I'm going to be nice, and give it a 3. Just barely. Because otherwise, Alright, moving on to The Amazing Spider-Man. 19, 20, 1, 22, this is number 724. Y'all can call it issue 6 all you fucking want. I'm not going to. This is issue number 724. This is the beginning of the Dark Kingdom storyline. Back to just Dan Slott writing it, and we got Buffagni on the artwork, and you still got those Alex Ross covers. These Alex Ross covers are just amazing. This one in particular is actually really good. I really like that. But we got the return of Mr. Negative in this storyline, and there's a big moment, there's a big plot point in here. He's gotten to Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger are now working for Mr. Negative, and they're inverted. Dagger is now dark, and Cloak is wearing lighter clothing. It's like they just flipped. You know, since they're working for Mr. Negative, they inverted. And now they're villains in here. And I'm thinking to myself, when the fuck did that happen? But then maybe later on down the line in the story we're going to find out exactly how that did happen. But in here, I see more of a Jekyll and Hyde split personality disorder problem with Mr. Negative in here when he's under his Billy Lee, or whatever the fuck his real name is, when he's in his normal look. It almost feels like two completely different people. And when he gets put back into Mr. Negative mode, it's like, okay, that's the real person, you know, and that's just what it feels like. And I don't hate Mr. Negative. I thought Mr. Negative was one of the better new villains that they introduced in that fucking unbearable Brand New Day run. But yeah, this was alright. This was actually pretty good. And then that, oh my god, that cliffhanger. Dan, I really hope you know what you're doing, because I'm sorry, you've made more mistakes with this character than you've had home runs. So I don't know. Okay, I'm putting my hands up here and saying you got me. This was good. But I'm trying my best to hold back my excitement because, look, I'm sorry, but you've let me down before, multiple times, and I'm just hoping you don't do it again. Good issue. Really good. I thought it was good. Not everybody's going to love this stuff. And I'm one of those kinds of people that thinks Slot's time is far beyond up and they need to go on to somebody else. But this was good for what it was. I give it a 3.5. Got some Star Wars books to cover here. We're going to start with Obi-Wan and Anakin #1. Charles Soule. Charles Soule was probably one of the main reasons why I got this. Otherwise, I probably would have passed on this. But, you know, it's a mini-series. I thought, you know, why not? You know, we already know what's going to happen. Us Star Wars nerds, spoiler alert, Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader when he grows up. But this takes place between, I want to say between episodes 1 and 2. So far, that's where I'm guessing it takes place. It takes place after episode 1, but just before episode 2. I mean, just before it, because Anakin's still a rookie at the Jedi Academy. You know, and you can definitely tell by reading this that Obi-Wan still has a lot to learn himself about being a Jedi master and a trainer. But he tries his best to do a good job with his young Padawan in here. And they come across a planet that they got a distress call from, and then we get a flashback to, you know, one of Anakin's earliest training exercises at the Jedi Academy. And, of course, a lot of the Jedi don't think he's ready, they're, you know, paranoid about him possibly being the chosen one and all that stuff. And for me, the best character in this book was Palpatine. Oh my god, he was good. He was really good. But then we get to the ending of the issue, and I was just like, That last panel where this woman says, "What in the green hell is a Jedi?" And I'm like, okay, where are you going with this? This wasn't bad. But I would only recommend this for die-hard Star Wars fans. If you collect the Star Wars books, but you think you're only collecting the books that really matter, then I would skip this. But it was okay for what it was. I'll give it a 3. Alright, Spider-Gwen #4, Latour, Rodriguez, and Renzi. This is good stuff. Enter the Green Goblin. This is something I've been waiting for. I've been ready to see this particular version of the Green Goblin for the longest time. You have no idea. And in here, it's Harry Osborn. But Harry Osborn is the Green Goblin for A lot of different reasons. It has nothing to do with his dad. It has nothing to do with the stuff that we've known Harry for being the Green Goblin for. It's none of that. He's the Green Goblin, and he's out for justice for Peter Parker, his best friend. Because he still thinks that Gwen, Spider-Woman, he still holds Gwen responsible for Peter's death. And he still doesn't know that Gwen is Spider-Woman in here. And there was a couple of times where she was damn close to revealing herself. But this was good. And there's some good lines in here, especially the line where, Gwen's ready to turn herself in. She's like, fine, you want to arrest me, arrest me. And the Goblin's like, who said I wanted to arrest you? I mean, this was good. This was good. And we see in here that Harry, as a Green Goblin, he does not fight alone. He has foot soldiers. And they have a different color scheme to them, if you noticed. And I'm hoping you noticed what I'm talking about. But this was good. This was good. I liked it. Not the strongest stuff in the world, but it was good to see a different take on the Green Goblin. Not a whole lot different, but different enough to say it was interesting. I liked this. Thought it was good. 3.5. Moving on to Spider-Man 2099 number 5. Peter David. God fucking damn it. What are you drinking? Can you share some with me? This stuff has just been really good. Miguel and Roberta, 2099 Captain America, they got their hands full with this motherfucker who's, he's just in love with guns and everything. Now, I'm trying my best not to ruin everything in here because I'm sure a lot of people already know who this gunman is. I know who he is, but I still don't want to give it away. Let's just say it's somebody they know. And lots of good moments in here. And this particular Captain America, she's pretty damn smart. And she finds a way to use this guy's own weapons against him when his weapons are encoded into his DNA, so only he can use them. But she found a way around it, and I thought that was pretty damn clever. This was good stuff. This was really good stuff. And that cliffhanger, oh my God. What is it with you and cliffhangers, Mr. David? I'm honestly asking you this. Why are you so good at this? Jesus, it's, when I read books by Peter David, there are times I think to myself, why isn't he the top writer? Why isn't he one of the more celebrated writers in Marvel Comics? Why? He needs to be higher up on the chain. To me, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I value him far above Brian Michael Bendis. It just, wow, this is really good stuff. Really, really good. I loved this. Thought this was good. I give it a 4. But this, folks, was my pick of the week. For one reason. It was fun as shit. Spider-Man Deadpool number 1. Oh my God. This was fun. I loved this. You got Ed McGuinness on the artwork, but I noticed who was the writer, and I went, I'm sold. Deadpool and Joe Kelly. I'm sold. If you want the quintessential writer for Deadpool, it's sure as hell ain't Daniel Way. It's not Victor Gischler, although Gischler does do good work with Deadpool. It's not even our old good friend Fabian, who created Deadpool. No, for me, there is one writer that writes Deadpool the right, correct way, and that is Joe Kelly. You give me a Deadpool book with Joe Kelly writing it, I'm going to read it. This was outstanding. I loved this. Now, is it a perfect 5-star book? No. But I loved it. And I love it when... this is not the first time I've seen Joe Kelly write a book where Spider-Man and Deadpool were the stars. I mean, this is really good stuff. It's like Deadpool is trying to reform himself and everything, and Peter is just letting him have it verbally the whole fucking time. I'm surprised there wasn't a speech bubble that said "fuck you, Wade." I'm really surprised it wasn't in there. I mean, that's almost literally the only thing Peter doesn't say to Wade in this book was "fuck you, Wade." If he'd have said that, Probably would have been a bit out of character, but still, I would have gotten a laugh out of it. This is really good. Ed McGuinness's artwork is actually really good in here too, and usually he likes to beef people up, you know. He's one of those artists that likes to make everybody really bulky and really, macho-like looking. But he tones that down, and it works. This is good. And then that cliffhanger at the end of the story, God, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to the second issue. You have no idea. This was good. And we got a bonus in here, the Vision #1. That stuff was actually really good too. Really awesome stuff. We got 2 good books for a good price, $4. I'm telling you folks, this is easily worth $4. You got 2 books in here, and it's really good shit. Fucking awesome. I love it. This is good. Hands down, pick of the week. 4.5. Moving on to Spidey #2. Thompson and Bradshaw still doing a good job with this. You know, it's growing on me a little bit more. I'm actually getting more and more liking out of this modern retelling of Peter's rookie years as Spider-Man. And this does feel like old school, classic style Amazing Spider-Man. This really does. We're only 2 issues in, so I guess it's kind of a little too soon to be calling stuff like that. But this was good. I liked it. We got all kinds of modern day pop culture referencing in here, so yeah, it's dated now, but at least it's not dated then. You know, at least we're not getting references to the Beatles or anything like that. But yeah. There was a study date between Peter and Gwen in here, and Peter drops a Lord of the Rings reference, and Gwen likes it. I thought that was pretty funny. But the Sandman, I thought looked really good in here. This was really good. I love this. This is easily, I think, a sleeper hit. I think Marvel's got a hit here, and I hope they keep going with this. This is really good. Yeah, I would highly recommend this for fans of the classic storytelling style of Amazing Spider-Man. Back when Spider-Man, was relatable to the average Joe instead of instead of now being the wealthy company owner shit. If you're a fan of the classic style of storytelling with old web hit, then I do recommend this. This was good. Really excellent book. I give this a 4. Now, I usually review books alphabetically ordered, but I have to review it in this specific way, and you'll understand why. Star Wars #14, Jason Aaron, Mike Deodato. Oh, this is part 5 of Vader Down. I had nerdgasms reading this storyline, and this issue was good. This was good. Another shining example of you don't fuck with Darth Vader. This was good. This was really good. And the stuff with Chewbacca in here was also really badass. I'm just loving this. I don't want to give too much away, but all I'll say is I love the pacing. The artwork is spectacular. The writing is solid. The character development is spot on. It's not nailed perfectly, but you read this and you feel like you're watching a Star Wars movie. It's that well written, in my honest opinion. Fantastic. And I love the way how it ends on a cliffhanger, making you want to read the conclusion, which, by the way, this gets a 4. Which brings us to the conclusion in Darth Vader #15, part 6 of Vader Down. Fantastic. Fantastic. And I'm sure there are some people online that thought that the storyline ended kind of anticlimactically. Okay, I can understand that. But I liked how it ended, because you would think people are. I'm sure people are probably saying it's called Vader Down, so why didn't Vader go down? And if anybody asks that, I would say to them, you're really going to ask that? Because we all know Vader doesn't really go down until episode 6. And we're at the point now where we haven't even reached episode 5 yet. What this basically does is further build the storyline and further build the inevitable revelation that Vader gives Luke. But there was just so many good moments in here, so much action, great character development. It's just like the Star Wars issue right before this. I think this is going to go down as one of the best stories Marvel has done in the past year. And I'm serious. I'm really serious. If you missed out on any parts of Vader Down, then I highly recommend getting the trade. I know they're going to release this particular storyline in trade, and I'd say pick it up. It'll be well worth your money. It'll be well worth your time. I thought this was a very fitting conclusion. I thought it was done very well. I too think it could have ended a little bit better, but I love it. It's really good. The Star Wars books, hands down, is some of the best Marvel's got right now. It's no joke. This gets a 4. Unfortunately, I wish I could end this on a different book. Uncanny X-Men number 601. Yeah, I know it's number 1, but the last issue was 600, so 601. Cullen Bunn, great writer, but then you see who draws it. Oh, God. We're back to this shit again. Marvel just... I don't get it. I don't get it. Why, Marvel? Why do you still have this motherfucker employed? Why? I know my buddy Brandon Hex. I know you're watching. I know Hex. I know you love Greg Land. I get that's fine. That's fine. You can love Greg Land all you want. That's fine. That's cool. I got no problem with that. I personally think his artwork's some of the worst I've ever seen. I can't stand the fuck... And Chris, bro, I know you're watching this too. You hear me on this. Tell me I'm wrong. Aren't you as sick as I am of that fucking smiling everybody does? God. It's like we're in the middle of a battle, but you still got time to smile. And you still got those awkward poses for all the women. As like, anybody that says that Greg Land doesn't trace over porn, you're out of your fucking mind. That's exactly what he does. He's a fucking tracer. I looked at some of his artwork. I've looked at some of his artwork from the past. You can't tell me he's drawn Cyclops that doesn't look like Tom fucking Cruise. You can't tell me that he doesn't trace. You can't tell me that he doesn't trace some of his own artwork. He recycles his own tracing. This man is nothing but a fucking tracer. Nothing else. I hear people bitch and gripe about Rob Liefeld's artwork. At least he draws. Greg Land doesn't draw. He traces. He traces over actual pictures of people and draws them in superhero costumes and says, publish it, Marvel. Boom. Tracing over stuff. That's shit I did when I was in the 1st grade. And I did that because I was bored. That's not artwork. That's not talent. And I gotta put up with it in here. With a great writer. That's what really sucks about bad artwork, is when it's paired with great writing. With a great writer. The writing was good. But goddamn, the artwork just hurts it badly. There were a few moments in here where I thought the dialogue was a bit on the cheeseball side, but it was still good enough to where it kept my attention. I like that they're using Sabretooth, Monet. I like the lineup. It's Magneto, Archangel, Monet, Sabretooth, and Psylocke. I like this lineup. I especially love that they're continuing to use Monet, one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite runs from X Factor, the Madrox years with Peter David. Oh, still some good stuff there. But if they'd have gotten anybody else to do the artwork, I would grade this a lot higher than I'm about to. The artwork is so bad, it takes a great writer in Cullen Bunn and reduces it to just barely an above average read at best. But I'm still going to give it a 2.5. Artwork fucking sucks. Well, that's all I got for this review, everybody. Y'all know what to do with me. You can follow me here on YouTube at Blugoblin01, or you can subscribe to my Blue Goblin X channel. Follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Facebook. Don't forget Arkham Asylum Studio. Don't forget my buddies TheMtVernonKid, Deadpoolzilla, and Brandon Hex. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I am Groot, and I'll see y'all later.